Today on Restixin, we are making this adorable, kitschy Santa ornament. Hey everybody, it's Teresa with Restixin.com, and I'm back with another ornament tutorial for our mod Christmas tree. I actually was at a vintage store a while back, and they had a Christmas tree up with vintage ornaments. And they had one that was so amazing and so kitschy and so fantastic. I grew completely obsessed with it, and I knew I had to do a version of it for myself. And it was basically this. I've been looking for vintage inspired crafts, like what were they making in the 60s to try to include on these trees, and this is what they were making. I found a bunch of these faces on eBay, and I've come up with this crochet pattern to set it off so that I could replicate the ornament I saw at that vintage store as much as possible, and I'm just over the moon about it. So let me show you step by step how I made this. The first thing you need is this little creepy Santa face. I got mine online. I didn't even look if they had them at another craft store because I was going for vintage. So I just went straight to eBay, and they were pretty easy to find that way. Just kind of Google, doll making supplies or something like that. And the ones you want do have that empty back. You don't want to have to work around the full head. So you just want the face part. I went back and kind of bumped up with some acrylic paint to make sure the whites and the beard and all of that was the way I wanted it, because age does tend to take away that paint effect. So I got the face just cleaned up the way I wanted. So now it's time to crochet. Okay, so this pattern is really dependent on the size of the Santa that you get. There's a lot of flexibility built into it, but you have to start with the Santa face. So first thing I'm going to do is make my slip knot by just over and reaching through and pulling, and then onto my hook. I'm using an eye hook, basically because that just went with the yarn that I picked. This is just kind of a thick, kind of bulky yarn, so I used the hook that the yarn called for. And I'm going to start by just chaining the length that it would take to get around his face. So let me show you that again. You go around and through. That's as simple as a chain can be. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to join this chain so that it becomes a circle by bringing the end back around, putting my hook right through that first chain, and then doing another slip stitch by pulling it all the way through, like so. So now we've got our circle, okay? So now we begin our pattern. I'm going to start by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3, and then start by making double crochets, and you're going to go directly into that circle you made. So around, underneath, 1 crochet, 2 crochets. There's a double crochet for you. So let me show you again. You go around, and then you go into that circle. You pick up the thread again, so that now you have 3 loops on your hook. You over again through the first 2, over again through the second 2. So now you've got that chain 3, which will kind of function as the double crochet, and then 2 more, and that will make your little block that this whole pattern is based on. So if you have Santa faces that are bigger or smaller, whatever, you can adjust the size by doing fewer or more of this little 3 block. Okay, so after those 2 crochets, I'm going to do another 3 chain, which will create a little gap. And then back to the double crochets, and we're going to do 3 this time because we don't have that chained section to hold up for us. So there's 1 crochet, 2 crochets. So there's our block. And we're just gonna keep going around. Now I'm gonna chain the 3 again. And of course this pattern is available on my blog. I'll make sure and link to it. But it's extremely simple. 3 chains, 3 double crochets. That's it. And you're gonna do that 5 times. You'll make 6 loops around, or 6 of these blocks. And that'll be your first row. So here I've got my 6 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm gonna join this together. So I'm gonna chain 2 more times so that will create this little gap again. And then I'm gonna put my needle through here, or my hook. I'm gonna put my hook through here and then slip stitch to close it off. So now we're going to make the second round. And this time we're gonna have, because of where we ended, we need to make enough to go up and all the way over to get to this next section. So I'm gonna chain 6, 3, 4. And then just like we did before with the double crochets, we're gonna do 4 of them this time inside this loop. There we go. So we just added a double crochet to our block, but other than that, it's exactly the same. So we're gonna chain 4 because we have a little further to go now. And then do 4 double crochets in this loop too. And then continue that all the way around until you've made, until you get to here. And then, well, let me show you. So this is actually the finished front part of the ornament. And you can see it's just 2 rows of that pattern. And on the second round, when you get to the last little gap here that we're filling, you do 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and then that long segment we made when we very first started this row becomes your 4th. So just like we did with the first round, you just do a slip stitch to attach it there too, and then you can cut it off and you're done. So now we get to attach this to our Santa face. So what I'm gonna do is, working a little bit at a time so that I don't burn myself or waste all the glue, is run a line of hot glue right along that ridge that they give us. And I'm gonna try to aim so that all of the beginnings and endings are on the bottom where they won't be such a focal point. And then I'm just gonna lay that crochet right into the hot glue. When you're trying to get it all the way around, you want to err on like maybe 1 extra stitch so that you've got enough room to kind of lift it up and over, but you also don't want 2 extra stitches so that it's too big to meet the Santa face. That's now good and glued in place, and we're gonna make a back for it because this is ugly. So if we don't fill up this hole, then whatever back we have is just gonna sink right into it. It's gonna be really obvious and weird looking. So I'm gonna take some batting and just kind of stuff it in there. And then this is a piece of polar fleece that I cut to size. You can really use just about anything you have on hand. It's better if it doesn't unravel. So something like a polar fleece or felt would be great. But this is all gonna be inside of it anyway, so it won't matter, but it should be white so that it doesn't become an eyesore. If you know what you're looking for, you will see this, so we do want to kind of make it a little pretty. For the back piece, we're going to use the exact same pattern style. We're still making those blocks, we just have to adjust it since we won't have Santa's face in the middle. So we're going to start with our slip knot and chain 9 stitches and then join that into a circle with a slip stitch. So, oops. Now I'm going to chain 2 and do 1 double crochet. chain 2 and do 2 double crochets. And that's what you'll do the rest of the way around. Chain 2, 2 doubles. So you repeat that pattern around until you have 6 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a little bit hard to see because they're mushed in together, but if we don't mush them this round, then we won't be able to get all of the spaces in as we grow bigger. So I've got the 6 sections and I've chained 2, and then that I'm going to join with a slip stitch. Like that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, see, we want the 6 little holes that we'll be using to make our round 2. So I'm chaining 6 because since we stopped at the beginning of this, we have to get all the way over here. So we are making what will be counted for the double crochet and then enough to get over. So that's chain 6 and then 3 doubles. And then 3 chains to get over. Now remember, this pattern is going to be on the blog. I've gone all the way around. I'm at that last little section, that last little gap we're entering into. So I've chained the 3 and I'm going to do 2 double crochets. And then this little height that we made at the beginning of the row is going to count for my 3rd. So I'm just going to put my hook right through one of those and slip stitch that closed. And that's round 2. Round 3 is our last round. And just like the other 2 before, we're going to add a chain in between here and we're going to add another double crochet there. And that's it. So I'm going to start by chaining 3 because this is just for, like, this is going to take the place of a double crochet. And then we'll do 3 in the little loop there, and that's our basic building block. So we'll chain 4 and then 4 double crochets. Get all the way around, and this, our starting point, those chains we made, go with this block. So you're going to end here with 4 crochets and chain 3 and slip stitch closed to make your whole back. Now we have a back and it matches our front. And let me just say that you might need to adjust the back pattern a little bit depending on the size of your Santa face. So if you had to go really big or something, you can always add more of these sections or take some away or add another row if necessary. But you just want to make sure that these 2 match, and there's lots of flexibility in the pattern so that you can make that happen. Okay, so with my 2 pieces and this one all covered, because you see with this big hole now, see how if you just left that a big gaping open head, that would be so bizarre. So that's what that all was for. So now we're gonna match these up and we're gonna match up the sections. So you have like the gaps together. Here I've got some crazy bright red yarn and I'm gonna make another slip knot to start another round, but this time I'm gonna leave this tail long enough so that I can make it be the hanger for the ornament when I'm all done with it. For now, I'm just gonna push that out of my way. I'm going to start up at the top so that my hanger will be there. So I'm gonna start right here and I'm gonna put it actually right between those double crochets. I'm gonna go between there and between there. So I'm leaving 1 crochet on the side. And then I'm just gonna do a single crochet. So I'm gonna grab my thread around all of that bulk, pull it through, and a single crochet. Okay, and so this will just end up connecting these 2 together and adding a pretty little scalloped fringe. And then this will be your ornament hanger when you're all done. Okay, so single crochet. This pattern's really simple too. Chain 4, another single crochet, but skip in between the single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, did I do that? Yeah. So now I'm not gonna go there, I'm gonna go here. Okay, and you'll get so fast at this because you just have to shove it in between. And then another 4. And in the gap, you know, obviously you don't have double crochets to go around. So you just wanna do 2. You'll do chain 4. and then into the loop for a single crochet, another chain 4, back into that loop, and then you'll chain 4 more, but this time you'll go into in between those double crochets again. So you can do that all the way around, and then when you get back to the top, you'll take this tail you left and kind of loop it underneath and tie it off. Well, yeah, obviously I'll make it smaller than that, but oh goodness, too much in my hands at once. Okay, so I'll kind of hold it there and then push it back through the layers and tie a knot so that my ornament will be ready. Here is what this will look like when I get all the way around. And I kept my ornament tail, I kind of pushed it to the back so that you would still get this uninterrupted view of that crochet trim. I think it's just so fun and kitschy, so we'll go see what it looks like on the tree. As I was working on this and carrying it around, my friends all kind of went, that's really creepy, Santa's creepy. But when you see it on the tree, with everything else around it, it's so perfect and kitschy. It makes me so happy. I can't look at this ornament and not just grin. It's so hilarious. I love it so much. So hopefully this will inspire you to try something new, make something this Christmas. If you have any questions, be sure and leave them down below and I'll do my best to help you. And make sure that you're subscribed to my channel so you can see how amazing this will look when I get the whole tree put together and share lots more tutorials with you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.